Hello there. So today, I wanted to do a review of The Last of Us Part 2 since I actually finished it just a little bit ago, like probably last week, probably about a week ago, maybe a little more or a little over a week ago. I think it was last Tuesday, in fact. And yeah, so I wanted to do this, but I didn't know exactly how. Because I played it on my PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 2, The Last of Us Part 2. I played it on my PlayStation 4, and I didn't, I kind of just wanted to play through it on my own instead of like do a whole thing where I'm recording video and all that. So I didn't hook it up to my thing, and I didn't want it to be, just kind of like every other review. So I'm deciding to instead do my review based on other people's reviews that I see online. So just kind of talk about what I think people might have gotten wrong, or sometimes it's not wrong, it's obviously it's just different many times, but a lot of people I know have been posting reviews without fully playing the game, I believe. So let's just get into it, see what we have here. So it looks like the Metacritic user score has gone up ever so slightly. I think it was at like 3.5 or something like that after like on the first day or something. And that's at 4.9. Obviously, still not like good, but it's better. And I would update that, but I don't think I have an account or anything, so I don't know. I personally enjoyed the game a lot, so perhaps I will be biased, but again, I just want to kind of see what other people said about this. Uh, we could just focus on negative reviews, but instead we're not going to focus just on negative or just on positive. We'll kind of mix the two. So this one, we'll just read the snippets on Metacritic. When the credits rolled in Last Us Part 2, I was still buzzing from the excitement of the final few hours. Honestly, I get that is kind of a problem with doing reviews immediately, I believe. I think it usually should take like a second or more playthrough and just sitting on it for a little bit before doing a full review. That way you're not, just coming off of the hype. Anyways, my loyalty shifted between characters, grew to love who I hated and dislike who I loved. See, I understand that because they clearly try to get you to do that. But, and I was watching a thing yesterday about The Last of Us Part 2, and they summed up my feelings in one little thing, saying that they they did end up kind of sticking to hating who basically you're supposed to hate near the beginning. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers here, but yeah, I did still hate them and kind of want them to die at the end, but I also really felt how the main character felt once that stuck. Yeah, but I'm very empathetic, so I don't know. I laughed, I teared up, I felt anger and elation. It's the new high watermark for video game characters, and I can't wait for everyone to just see how special it is. As soon as it ended, I booted up my new game plus. Okay, and I'm experiencing it again with with my eyes open in context of the finished story, imprinting new meaning to those early scenes and characters. I'm not swiping in the dark anymore. Okay, I mean, well, as I had said at the beginning of reading that review, I am glad they're doing it again. But okay, and I mean, I think that's a good thing. Again, I wouldn't personally, I probably wouldn't give it 100 out of 100 just because, uh, as as people say, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect game. I think this game does a really fantastic job, but I mean, there's always something to complain about. Gameplay and stuff isn't perfect. There are occasional issues, but I think it's really great. Um, okay, user reviews. It looks like the first three over here are very positive, and then we get a lot of bad ones. Probably maybe some of the bombs, but whatever. Excellent graphics, gameplay, story, combat. Gameplay is brutal yet fun. Recommended for those who are collecting platinum trophies. The game is easy to platinum. So I haven't tried to platinum it yet, but I probably don't intend to. If I do, it'll have to be something that just comes naturally. Like the combat's fine. I don't think it's its strongest suit, but I mean it's good enough. I also wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I think it's easier than the first one, which I personally like. The first one had, and if you played it, you know what I'm talking about. Like a lot of the clickers and stuff, some of those could be very difficult in the first one. It's a little more forgiving in this one, and I think that works. I think that helps it because you can get a little more attached. It doesn't pull you out of the story as much because you're not like constantly, you're not getting stuck necessarily in some of these moments. There's one moment in particular that I kind of got stuck on for a bit, but I got it eventually, and it felt really good to finally finish it. With weighty combat that improves on the first, story that tugs on the heartstrings and keeps you yearning for more, major upgrades in graphics and majority of the mechanics. Last of Us Part 2 is every bit as much improvement on the first that can be expected. With so much anticipation, it was always going to be careful treading for Naughty Dog, and they've done what they seem to manage with every one of their major releases. Absolutely smashed it out of the park. So again, I agree that it was better than the first one, but I also, going into the first one, I started it pretty late, and I got into it many years after it had already come out, many years after the remaster had come out, and it took me forever to play through, and I was already slightly disposed to, or whatever, to not enjoy it as much because it was so hyped up, especially by my brother. And I was just like, I mean, it's okay. It doesn't do a lot of new, exciting things. But okay, that's just me. Contains spoilers. Okay, so let's see. Starting game, excellent storytelling that builds upon the Unforgiven apocalypse. Top-notch gameplay for its genre. Another masterpiece by Naughty Dog. I don't see how that is spoilers, and looks like that's all there is. Okay. A couple more that have spoilers. So be wary. What an utter disappointment. I can't believe that this is the best they managed to come up with after all of 7 years. Listen, some games have taken way longer than 7 years to come out and have disappointed way more. This game has the worst story out of all the games I've ever played. They must have played some really top-notch games exclusively. It's pretty much herder revenge, bad kids. Don't do revenge, because if you do, it's a never-ending cycle. I'm very, very smart. Okay. But at the very least, graphics and gameplay are good. But as a fan of the first one, this is stupid. This is stupid critics who gave this 10/10 are a joke. I feel like they're just hating because they're hating. First of all, like if anyone plays this game thoroughly, I don't see how anyone can think that it has a bad story. Either that, or they're just not. I don't know. They're just not paying attention to it, or, I mean, I'm trying to see their point of view. Maybe they are, and maybe they just don't agree with it. Maybe they interpret it differently. But I mean, it's because granted, they were trying to make fun of some of that stuff, obviously, but there is a point there where their message is kind of revenge is an endless cycle that, if you keep feeding into it, it's never going to stop, and nobody's going to end up feeling good about themselves by the end. So again, they have their point. It wasn't as poorly told as they made it sound, and they actually give you good reason to want revenge, but to also feel really bad about it. Okay. Also contains spoilers. I love the first game, creative, immersive, and compelling. This game has nothing new apart from the appalling destruction of the story and the characters. This is the last Jedi of video games. I hate it. I don't like these awful characters. What the hell were they thinking? I wasted my money. I won't be buying from Night Dog again. Terrible. Okay, well, also just hating just to hate. I also am on the, speaking of major controversies in the past few years, I was also a big fan of The Last Jedi. Am a fan of The Last Jedi. Um, so I guess I tend to side with the critics a lot more, but maybe that's just because I'm more critical and wanting to see more new things a lot of times. So yeah, this, and I like bold, controversial choices. And they definitely stuck with their choices in this game, which I appreciated. And they're like The Last Jedi, as they're mentioning here. It does work to kind of it uses your enjoyment or your love of the characters and just the first game. If you love the first game, it uses your love of those characters and your attachment to them to really hurt you. Like they take things away, they kill characters, and I'm sure you're aware by now, but they definitely do things to kind of hurt you to make you feel more emotionally invested in the game, and I think that's a good thing. I love that they do that, and again, it's a change in direction, and it feels in many ways, I think that's how the game feels more like just a better story. It feels a little more realistic in that sense, then it doesn't feel so much like an obvious video game choice or an obvious movie choice. Many people are talking, it'd be so much easier to kill off one character, but then you wouldn't really have any emotional investment in them. Instead, they choose to kill off someone that they know that people have an investment in and they really liked. So it gives you a reason to really want to go on this like rampage, basically. And saying he's not going to buy from Naughty Dog again, whatever. If you're going to not choose to buy a game from a company because you disagree with one game out of quite a few other really great games, then I I think that's stupid, and I kind of don't expect them to follow through with that. Anyways, sequel that completely ruined the story and characters introduced in the first game. This time they present Joel as a fool who trusts everyone when the essence of the character was that of a ruthless person. Okay, that's another thing. Also more kind of spoilers right here. I'll try my best to tiptoe around it, and I was watching a What Culture video on this yesterday as well, where like this is essentially a time after Joel has, you know, in his eyes, I believe he has accomplished what he needed to accomplish. He saved Ellie. He did what he did, and I think he's like exhausted from it. I think he is kind of done with wanting to be that just ruthless character. I think he wants to have a time where he can just live and try to be safe and try to be kind of relaxed. Obviously, he still has to help with the city that they're in after the first one, but yeah, he's not the same ruthless fighter anymore. It's been like 4 years. He's trying to be a father to Ellie. He didn't get to be a father very long. I don't remember how old Sarah was supposed to be, but lost her, and then been 25 years. And so yeah, it's longer now, and he's just wanting to be that like dad. So I think it makes a lot of sense that he has turned into a person that's just trying to be more helpful and trusting of people. Obviously, he still tries to look out, but he's not going to, and especially with all that happened with Ellie, he's not going to be with someone. He's not going to be the kind of person to just ruthlessly let people die or anything. So that is something near the beginning of the game. And again, I disagree with that. But then again, that's also just my interpretation of what happens versus their interpretation. I can't express enough how bad this game is. Every year, a new sequel with great games comes out and it is ruined by greedy morons trying to earn money from game name and push out their beliefs. Should be beliefs onto people. P.S. Bot critics won't help you sell more copies. I don't know. I don't really believe all the conspiracies about critics being paid for their reviews. Um, I don't think that happens. Maybe that's just me not wanting that to be true. But again, I'm not really part of that, so I don't know. I think this is just a great game. I'm not trying to convince anybody because if you're not going to play it, or if you already don't like it because of one reason or another, then I mean, a lot of people, it's not worth trying to convince them something when they have their mindset in something else. But I'm just, doing my reaction to these so that you can be more informed if you're actually looking to do that. So yeah, I definitely don't think they're, especially with. Sorry, let me take a step back to think of how I want to say this. I don't think this would be the way to try to greedily get money from somebody. Like, I'm sure going into this, they knew how controversial a lot of their decisions would be. Um, I'd find it hard to believe that a lot of people would that this many people would have bought it just from name recognition and everything. Uh, Obviously, it's like the fastest selling PS4 game of all time, I think. But yeah, again, I think they know just how controversial it was. I think Naughty Dog knew. So I don't think that's a choice that someone would make just to be greedy. I think they did it because they felt that it was the best choice to make story wise, or the best choices to make throughout this. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. And yeah, so Metacritic has been the main place that people have been arguing. Obviously, it's where it's been review bombed a lot, like in the first day, which it took I looked it up. It said about 25 to 30 hours in some reviews. I think I beat it in about 20, maybe 21 hours. But I also was just kind of doing a pretty standard playthrough. I mean, I was collecting stuff, looking around. I got quite a few trophies. I definitely didn't platinum it, but I wasn't really trying to do everything in the game, so I don't know how much I might have missed. Again, I explored a lot, but yeah. So it's not terribly long. Also, I was just totally hooked on it. Every time I had a chance to play it, I wanted to, and now I'm sad that it's over. But yeah, so I thought this was good. I will look again at what this review says, this clip says from Cultured Vultures, but just because it's another mixed one, it's not like a glowing review. In trying to subvert expectations, The Last of Us Part 2 discards the best aspects of its predecessor to provide a rote revenge tale that is ill-considered, ending on a note that makes everything, all the violence, all the loss, all the struggle, feel utterly, hopelessly pointless. Okay, now they at least put well, at the end there, I think they make a point, but again, I don't think it's a negative point. That's a kind of thing that I enjoy about this game. that it is essentially pointless, and it's not necessarily pointless, but it's hopeless, and it's not a positive thing. But again, I think that does a good job of reflecting reality, and that's what I just really enjoy about it, because it's not one of those kind of, I guess, cookie cutter happy endings, or a big ending where it feels like everything you do had a big did significant things in the end and really helped the world overall. Yeah, it definitely didn't. So yeah, again, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done, and I appreciated a lot of the bold choices that they made with it. Especially, although, as I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the first game. There was a lot of stuff, like, I thought it was well done, but there was a lot of decisions they made in the first game that I felt were very safe. It felt like a not too original concept and everything. But again, that was just me. It felt like a somewhat standard apocalypse story. Again, granted, with good writing and good characters and everything. But again, I feel like the second one took a lot bolder chances, and I think it paid off. So yeah, that is my review of the Metacritic, just a select few Metacritic reviews of The Last of Us Part 2. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this. I have considered doing this kind of thing before, or also just reviewing older games. I know this one's new, so I've been playing some older games again, or for the first time. So I've been considering maybe doing some retroactive reviews, I guess you'd call it. So thanks, guys, for let me know if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more of it, and I hope to see you on my next video. Remember to just check it out and like, subscribe, whatever, or don't. I don't really care. I just kind of want to make this stuff. So thanks. See you guys next time.